Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel, Rose Healing Light. This will be a pick a card reading with spiritual guidance for the week beginning 14th of February, 2023. And today we have a theme, or I have been guided to choose a theme for love and relationships. And this is to honor the Valentine's Day that happens today on the 14th of February. And today you are being guided by three different crystals. The first one is pink howlite, the second rose quartz, and the third is malachite. So please go ahead, and there will be respectively pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. So if you take a moment and take a deep breath and tune in with your intuition, tune in with your heart center, and allow yourself to be guided to one of those readings. You may be guided to more than one, and this is perfectly fine. Just watch one and then the second one, or after watching the first choice, the first reading of your choice, you can also be guided to perhaps to a second one, if this is what is for your best and highest good. All right, so I'll see you in a second in one of those readings. Hello and welcome. If you've chosen pile number 1 or a crystal called pink howlite, then this reading is for you. One thing I wanted to say perhaps first, so while I'm not going to discuss the qualities of pink howlite, I feel like the stone itself, right, and the message is that someone or something and perhaps a practice can help you with finding the right person, right, and the right partner for life or just for long term, right? And I feel like this also, the pink howlite is also asking me to tell you to always consider your heart center and the love aspect, right? A mature and maturity. I would say maturity in love, or a mature love aspect. And I think I will leave it with you. It's just a short message from the stone. Also, just so you know, and I always work with the angels and archangels, so I've invited, and I always have Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron with us to bring us blessings and protection for the whole reading. Yeah, and just so we have obviously the best experience as we can have on the reading. So let me start. I'm going to start with the theme. And before, so the theme, I've chosen this actually from Romance Angels cards. For you, it says, give your relationship a chance. And before I start talking about the theme, I just wanted to tell you, so I've got here tarot cards for you and some clarifiers. And I feel strongly that the pile 1 reading is actually is a lot about finding a romantic relationship and a romantic partner, right? Just because the title, like all these 3 readings are for love and relationships, so perhaps sometimes it may come from a different angle, and it may be perhaps also about other relationships. But for you, so the pile 1 people, I feel like for you the reading is a lot about looking for or finding a romantic partner, or perhaps if you are already in a relationship, it may be about some aspect of a resurgence in a relationship, but it is strongly connected to a romantic partner, right? And a romantic partnership as such. All right, so let's start with the theme, which says give your relationship a chance. And it does say work on your partnership. So I would say, and what I've been feeling also from the cards, that for some of you, or many of you, you have already met the person, but you probably are not sure, let's say, if they're the one, right? Or you are not sure where this relationship is going. So there may be different situations here. And I think the theme for you, and because it's a Valentine's Day and the reading is for the week really, but please just take what resonates with you, because there may be a bigger guidance for you. So it says, give your relationship a chance and work on the relationship, perhaps with a partner or with or just on your own. What I wanted to say, what I gather from this card, right, is that it doesn't, like, I would just suggest that if you've met the person but you are not sure if they are the one, or there are different, let's say, things happening and maybe some issues, and obviously the relationship may not be going the way that you would want to. I think this card, and this is just based on the reading, suggests that perhaps it's worth giving it a try, and just to remember that we all have to kind of grow through, let's say, other partnerships, or we have to go through a number of relationships, right, with romantic partners, until we get to the right one. And the reason, or the purpose of us going through and growing through, let's say, multiple relationships, is exactly to grow internally. And then when we grow internally, right, we raise our vibrations, then we are able to attract the right partner for us and at the right level, right? And very often we can then attract the partner for life. But I would suggest, just this is from that, this may take sometimes many years before we really meet the right one, right? The right person. So here I would just suggest that it's a little bit more temporary. This is how it feels for me. But it tells you that if you've already met someone, or you've been perhaps dating, so I'll just talk a little bit more with the tarot cards on this. You are just being kind of asked and perhaps just guided to give this relationship a chance, but to make sure also that perhaps you can work with them on the relationship, but you also perhaps need to also work, I would say, with yourself and on yourself, to perhaps recognize what it is that you truly want, I would say. All right. So I've got three cards, three position, past, present, future, with three angel tarot cards. And I've got three clarifiers as well from a psychic tarot deck. And I will start. Okay, I'm going to start with the present moment situation. And this is also very often, let's say, like a core, like a present. It's kind of like the center of an issue if there is any issue going on, right? So it could be like the center thing, but it's also a present moment. So you've got the Knight of Earth. So that's the Knight of Pentacles. And this says accelerated motion. So the Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Earth, the Knight of Pentacles suggests to me that many of you, or you have already met the person who, let's say, you are now having a relationship with, or perhaps you've met him and you are perhaps attracted to him or her. It can be to both, of course. And something perhaps is going on, right? But it's definitely not, let's say, a full relationship yet, right? So whichever stage you are at. And I would say the accelerated motion does mean that there is perhaps a lot, I would say there's a lot going on, but you may feel like that there's like there's kind of like a speeding up with something. Maybe someone wants to move on quicker than you, or something like that. But on a higher spiritual level, I would say that there is also an accelerated motion in terms of perhaps how you are growing, so how you are growing in the relationship, right? And there's some aspect of an acceleration with regards to, like, let's say, with regards to coming to the right partner, but not everything, like, this is just a weekly reading, so not everything will happen this week, right? But I would just say that, like, the general message is just to take from here that there's an acceleration in terms of, like, what, let's say, in the manifestation of it, right? So what did you want to manifest? Perhaps many of you have already worked on manifesting the partner. Perhaps many of you have gone through issues, have gone through a healing process, therapy process, maybe for many years, right? So I feel like that it does say that there is an acceleration in motion, I would say, as accelerated movement. But I also feel that there is a bit of caution inside of me with the card. So I would also suggest that if someone, let's say, if someone is trying, let's say, to move too quickly into a relationship, or to perhaps push you, maybe push is not the right word, but like if you feel that someone is, let's say, moving too quickly, then I would still say, maybe that's why this card is very often about caution, right? So I would suggest also that you can be the knight yourself, and you can make sure that you take it steady, or perhaps slow and steady, or you take it at your own pace, right? So I think so that's interesting, because on one hand it does seem like that for many of you, you already have met someone and you perhaps are working things out between you and them, right? Maybe you've been dating. Maybe it's more on a kind of platonic level sometimes as well, but I feel like most of you are aware of it, right? Or you are aware or you've been doing your healing work, right? Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, but it's also, I feel like this card is also telling me that you can also become this Knight of Earth, where you want to take a steady progress perhaps into a relationship, and also in your life, right? And also perhaps I would suggest that it is you who is manifesting, right? So whomever is coming, so whomever has come to your life already, is probably not like the final end, and it's not like the perhaps the right person for life if you wanted that for life, right? Or it's not like the long-term partner. But you, yeah, but you are the one who holds the power, right? So you are the one who is manifesting, which means that you always have a choice, I would say, right? And you can always say no, or you can also look at other options. I'm just trying to feel, because it feels a bit strange. Or you can simply, yeah, or you can even withdraw from this person. I think it's just that the manifestation, I would say manifestation is in your hands. All right. I actually, also when I took those cards, it just like, I feel like the angels have reminded me that it was even a message that I got myself, that because it's like a Valentine's Day week, right? And the energies are quite intense. I think today we still have, I know yesterday we had, so Monday it was Scorpio moon, so the moon was in Scorpio, and I think today it's moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius. So Scorpio is an intense sign, right? But anyway, the angels have just really reminded me that it's the energy of the week is a lot about twin flame as well. And I would just say that there are different theories about how you cooperate and how you work with a twin flame or a soulmate relationship, right? But on the level that maybe I want to pass on the message, the twin flame is all about also, as I said, doing your own inner work, and perhaps going through sometimes a number of relationships before we get to the right one, right? But anyway, I feel like maybe I just need to pass on a general message for some of you who are perhaps more aware, or just have worked for a long time, that there is a lot of twin flame kind of energies. But it does mean that there is, like, for example, with accelerated motion, and for you guys who are watching, it means that there is perhaps a lot of movement. But it could be, like, for example, like a circular movement, which means that there may be some kind of issues which kind of resurface perhaps, and you need to work with them. So, and this is probably this week, but they are just reminding, yeah, this is this week specifically, right? This energy. But they're just reminding me that it happens for a reason, right? And if there was maybe some manipulations, or you feel like it's also a chaotic movement, that is for a reason, but it will be serving you to perhaps work some things out and perhaps move forward with something, or perhaps accelerate something in your life as well. All right. And in the past position, we actually have the Knight of Water, and that's a beautiful card for a romantic relationship, because it actually does talk about perhaps meeting a romantic partner or going for a date. But but that's your past position, right? And it comes with a trapped in fear card, but this card comes in reverse, right? So what I'm getting for you, and what I've just said, that many of you perhaps, so I think the first message is that this relates to perhaps to the person who you perhaps just started dating, or maybe you started to somehow connect with them on a level. It may be just, or it may be already, even, I would say, maybe they're already in your life, right? They come up as the Knight, so I think that for me the message for you is that this is about the romantic relationship or the partner. So there's a bit of there is a romantic attraction between you and them, right? And I would say again, maybe it's been happening already for many months, maybe for more than a year perhaps, right? Or maybe even 2 years, because kind of these things are not just like very quick sometimes, right? We need to go through a lesson also with the relationship. And I think on the other note, and the trapped in fear card, I kind of have a feeling that this person is helping you. So now on a level of understanding how a soulmate, let's say, or a romantic partner sometimes is helping us with clearing some of the bad stuff, so clearing some of our fears, for example. Yeah, I think the fear is, yes, or perhaps to clear some of our blockages inside of us, and then to work and also through going, let's say, through a relationship which isn't necessarily perfect, and maybe it isn't even right for us, but it's just happening because there is an attraction going on. We can also heal ourselves, right? Or we can apply the right healing. And perhaps come out of this position. So the trapped in fear means that you were just stuck, perhaps, right? Maybe in the past you were just totally stuck, and maybe there was no one, or there was nothing that was manifesting, or maybe you had a lot of blockages, or maybe, I don't know, things were manifesting very much at a distant level, right? That perhaps you were attracted to someone, but there was no way that you were even talking to them, right? So maybe things like that, right? And in this case, I would suggest that the Knight of Water is just suggesting that you are your own healer as a person, right? You've taken already some steps in the past, many months, many years, perhaps, to heal yourself, to understand your fears. You understand your subconscious patterns, or patterns in relationships, perhaps ancestral patterns, right? And you've already started to move out of it, right? So obviously you have been releasing a lot of fears. You have been releasing perhaps a lot of blockages, right? And things like that. And obviously you will, yeah, and you are being advised you will continue to heal yourself through this relationship as well, right? And through the weekend going forward. All right. And the future position here is King of Air with Ace of Water. And it does come with the, so this is number 6. This is the Lover's card. So in this deck, it's actually called Harmony. I would say, even though these cards can, like these cards are very positive, but I would say that this is just a weekly reading, right? And this is a future position, so this is something that may manifest by the end of the week, perhaps, right? Or perhaps a little bit later, but just let's say in the next 2 weeks' time. That this person, so this is obviously, so King of Air is a person, perhaps again, and it would be perhaps the same romantic partner, I would say. Yeah, this is how it's coming probably, right? Or someone who you have been working with at that level, right? Or level of attraction. And I'm just trying to, but that's a King of Air. So now he has a quality, right? So he probably will come up in your life. I'm just trying to think, he may come up in your life, yeah, as a king. So you perhaps, well, if yeah, you've know, obviously you know him already, but he may be, I'm just trying to, I don't know, he may be at a different, like at a, so a King of Air, he perhaps has a position, right? So I don't know if you know him, if he may be, okay, it comes like he may be your boss, your manager, he can be just someone who you know and perhaps has a great job and has a kind of great status, right? He can be someone who you admire because they have a great communication skills. He can be someone, anyway, you may be actually, it comes like you, there's a bit of distance with the King of Air, and you may be related with him through another situation as well, right? That's why I was saying, for example, that you may have met this night already, right? This person, but there's a lot of kind of work, perhaps more inner work involved, right? And healing work, and maybe the relationship isn't necessarily happening or maybe going the right way, right? But this suggests that perhaps there is another situation that brought him onto you, and it's kind of maybe like a bit of a distant, more distant, again, like maybe a professional situation as well. But now this came with the Ace of Water, and Ace of Water is also a beautiful card. It says it's usually like a beginning in love, or it does represent love aspect. All right, so now I'm feeling like that they are also, to tell you that they're also attracted to you. But I don't, but what I would say, yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think like what, because I think the King of Air, I feel like this is the major card for you for the future to look out for something. I don't think that this King of Air is fully available to you. So whatever is happening in his life, right, doesn't perhaps let him to come to you and perhaps to offer the love to you. But I would say that maybe those two cards are telling me that this person is a positive person. He may be attracted to you, and maybe he has some kind of he may have even some love for you. But this now would come with, like, we do meet soulmates from past lives, right? So he may actually be the soulmate that you have met many times in the past life. And this love would suggest that you've perhaps you were perhaps in a romantic relationship, maybe with him, or love relationship in some past life, right? But not going too far to the past. I think nowadays he is a little bit distant and he's not fully available to you. That's why he's perhaps not doing what you would want him to do, or maybe things cannot happen at this moment in time because it's a short period of time. But I would say that the Ace of Water is saying that there is some positive aspect about perhaps love between you two, right? And it can be love, maybe not fully unconditional love, but love taken at the level of maybe non-physicality as well, right? So you may both of your heart centers, let's say, may be working here, but you need to work out some issues, right? And I think this card about harmony, I would just say that it kind of talks also about, it's like the Lover's card, right? But it talks a little bit about commitment. So perhaps you may want to look at your commitment issues. And we've talked about healing yourself and doing the inner work so that you can get to the right partner. And I'm attracted also to the word harmony. So I'm feeling to tell you also that it's actually also a lot about harmony in your life, or harmony in your relationships, right? So maybe this is more important. Maybe that's a message again for those who are healing, right? That they just to make sure that you have the harmony, or you are bringing more and more harmony into your life and into your relationships, or anyone who you meet, right? Yeah, and I would say that these cards are just like positive sign for the future, because as I said, that's only a weekly reading, but I feel like the message is a little bit for you, maybe like a longer message or a bigger, that things can manifest. I wouldn't say that with this man, right? But I would just say that perhaps whatever you are working on and towards is a harmony, and more a harmony in a relationship, and more harmonious relationships in general. Okay, and I think I will just leave it at that. yeah, because I don't think that there is anything else. It's just perhaps about working and continuation, right? On, yeah, on your path, basically, on whatever you've been doing. um I will just take one last card just to give you like an advice card right at the end. um yeah, so I hope it was, I hope it will be just helpful as it is, right? I don't feel that there is any, yeah, I feel like I just need to pass on the message, guys, the way it comes, right? Because sometimes I feel like I would want to tell you more, but I can't. And it's just, I would say, just be patient and just continue to also love yourself first, right? Okay, and we've got the card. It's from the Moonology deck. It's called Be Real, and it's kind of interesting. It's actually full moon, because it's full moon in Aquarius. We are actually still in Aquarius season, because the sun is in Aquarius. Um, for some of you, I don't know, I think for some of you it may represent that something may actually manifest by the full moon in Aquarius, which would be sometime probably in August. Because now we've just had a full moon in Leo, which was now more than, it was last week basically, so about 8 days ago. And then we've got the card Be Real. So maybe that's what I was saying. I think it's probably a little bit of a distant relationship for you, or this person isn't necessarily like fully engaged with you for various reasons, right? And I think this card is just coming up. It's kind of coming up that you need to perhaps differentiate, because being real, what does it really mean to you, right? Like, it's just differentiating what really is real between you perhaps and that person, and what is just going on perhaps inside of you and inside of your mind, right? So how many things are you really, let's say, thinking of, or like how many like things are you imagining about him, right? And however you perceive the connection, and because you may have different feelings. For those who are sensitive, you can have also an intuitive connection with them, and you may feel actually their attraction. You may do, and many people do always, right? But this card, I think, is just suggesting, and I feel like working with your shadows. There is a bit of a shadow aspect that I feel is coming. It's also full moon, and the full moons do illuminate a lot of shadows, right? And they kind of sometimes push us to work on something that is uncomfortable. Yeah, so perhaps maybe take it the way it comes to you, and the way it feels, right? But Be Real is just like differentiate between what is really real, perhaps on the physical level, and what isn't. But don't punish, like I would say, even if it's not real but it's real for you, then perhaps continue to, maybe this will, yeah, to kind of differentiate. Yeah, and just, yeah, I would say differentiate, and then just work with yourself to know perhaps how do you want to move forward, right? Because maybe this really isn't the right person, but you will not know it probably today and by the end of the week. All right, yeah, I would just say be real with yourself as well, right? And it will help you maybe to move through the situation, or just through the next couple of weeks. All right, all right. Thank you, beautiful pile one people. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it was helpful for you. Please do like, share, or subscribe to my channel. I'll be very grateful. It will also help other people know that there's something valuable in here. And yeah, I'm wishing you a beautiful week. And yeah, take care of yourselves. Bye. Hello and welcome. If you have chosen pile number 2, or the beautiful rose quartz crystal, then this reading is for you. And let's start with a small message from rose quartz as a crystal and as, let's say, your significator. I feel for you it's about self-love this week, and also for Valentine's Day. Self-love also means that perhaps treat yourself, let's say, with love and respect first. There's an indication, guys, that maybe if you are single, then make sure that you can also celebrate, or you can honor Valentine's Day and honor your own love for yourself, I would say. So you can, for example, buy yourself flowers or do something really nice for yourself, right? Or if you are with a partner, then of course celebrate with a partner. But I think that the message here, it seems like it's for many of you who are single, or perhaps are not having, let's say, the right relationship at the moment. Yeah, so just honoring yourself, and just honoring your self-love, and yeah, and loving yourself first. All right. So we'll start with the theme from Romance Angels card deck, oracle deck. And before I start, so you do have a card called actually Soulmate and Let Go of Control Issues. So, and before I start to talk about it, I just wanted also to say that we've got Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron with us. I normally work with the angels as well when I do the readings, and I always ask them to come forward. So they are present and they are sending us blessings, and I've asked for blessings and protection for the reading so that we can have as best experience as we can. All right, just so you know. Let's start. And so that you can feel uplifted with the messages and after the reading. So here for you, as a team, you have a soulmate card. But it does come from, so when I received the soulmate card, I was guided to take the second card, and it does say let go of control issues. I would suggest, so this one says that yes, this is your soulmate. But so I would say, so for those of you who perhaps who are single or perhaps have been going through relationship issues, this suggests that yes, you do, maybe you have met the soulmate, or maybe at the moment you are currently connecting with the soulmate, but at the same time you are being asked, and I think that many of you have already been working through the process, right, of healing yourself, and in this way also understanding perhaps your control issues and the control patterns inside of you, and also perhaps control patterns in your family, right? So just working with some past patterns or patterns from the past with regards to control issues in a relationship. It may mean also that you were controlled perhaps, right? So this is like a bigger issue. For example, like you may have been, or you are perhaps connecting with someone who, let's say, is a narcissist, right? So we're just using, I just want to say it because it's it's a term, right? Psychological term, but through, let's say, narcissism and narcissistic abuse, there's a lot of control patterns and issues that can be obviously healed, and they always come to the surface, right? So it can actually be both. So you are working with your own self and your own patterns, but you are also working, I would say, with patterns in relationships to do with control issues, and you may have been the one, or you are perhaps the one who was perhaps controlled, right, by other people. Or there was a power struggle in this way, right? That's why, yeah. But I would say maybe with that, just to start, because that's why maybe this crystal set all about self-love, right? And why I'm feeling that I'm probably connecting with many of you. Most of you are probably single at the moment, or are perhaps just having some issues. So perhaps have tried a relationship, but it didn't work. And you are not, I would say you are not probably currently with a partner. And why I'm saying this, because I also have an indication this is your past card, Nine of Earth. And this is perhaps telling me that, as I said, this is like a self-sufficiency and like being a standalone person, right? So being single, simply. in this way, in this reading, this would mean that you perhaps are single, maybe working with some relationship that haven't worked out. Maybe you are leaving a relationship, right, from the past, or and you're still working things out. But one thing that I wanted to say about the soulmate card is that I would say have faith, and also believe in love. And have faith in love and loving relationships, right? So soulmates do come to our lives sometimes to teach us lessons, sometimes the biggest lessons in our lives, but also we do then connect, but this is for a purpose, right? And also for us, sorry, I'm just trying to give you the right guidance, and also for us to perhaps work through these issues with certain perhaps people, like soulmates. They activate something inside of us so that we can heal and transform. And then we are moving towards finding the right person, right? And then the right soulmate with whom you can stay for longer, right? Even for life, or at least, or I would say for longer, which means that with whom you can have perhaps a really good relationship, or even a great relationship, right? Or a relationship of a lifetime as well, yeah. So I would say, but I think altogether these two cards, but have faith and keep believing, right, that it will happen. It may not happen perhaps this week, probably not. I'm sorry, and not maybe this year. This is how it's actually coming for you guys, but it will happen at some point. So just keep doing the work as well, I would say, right? And this card does suggest a bit of like maybe inner work, right? And working perhaps with control issues from the past. And let me start. And this is your present moment, like a current moment position. Sometimes it is also the center of your spread, right? So I've got actually three angel tarot cards, past, present, future, and I've got also clarifiers for them from a different tarot deck. So let me just start with the present moment. You do have 10 of air, so that's 10 of swords actually in the traditional, and then you've got the card number 13, transformation, which actually is the death card in the traditional tarot. With this, so that's why I've just said, even with the crystal, right, that the self-love is the most important aspect for you. But this means that this is something at the moment, something is ending in your life, right? You are kind of going through an end of a situation, an end of a cycle. It perhaps has been quite difficult or really difficult for some of you, maybe even painful. So perhaps I feel like you are either leaving a relationship behind. So you would have, I mean, the way it feels, you would have perhaps split up from them some time ago, or maybe you even weren't really like with them, but you have gone through some, let's say, transformatory and some, maybe even some toxic process with them, right? But this to me, it feels like it's a process, but it feels like you are leaving this behind, right? Or yeah, and maybe that's why the card, or if you were single and you were not able to find a partner, perhaps you needed to work a lot with yourself. Yeah. So yeah, so I feel like this it's a process, but you are kind of moving on, or at least you're kind of leaving it behind, right? And you perhaps maybe trying to release some of the pain as well, and that's why it comes with the transformation card. And the transformation card is perhaps talking about even maybe healing your. So she has a green like a share green, let's say, top, right? Healing. So what comes to me, it's actually healing your heart center. You're healing your heart chakra. So heart issues, right? Love related issues. And transformation. So anything that is happening, it may not be very easy. It may be actually a little bit painful or difficult, but remember that however you apply yourself and perhaps do your healing or do your meditation, so whatever work you can do with yourself, you can then transform it, right? So there's a lot of transformation. I would just say there's a lot of transformation happening for you. I would even say currently this week and maybe in the next couple of weeks, right? And the transformation is also a process, right? But just for this week, just to give you a message. And one thing that I already mentioned also in pile one, that just to remember, guys, that I was guided that actually around, so because it's the 14th is the Valentine's Day, and the whole week is kind of like under, it has energies of a twin flame. And I would just say briefly that twin flame is a theory, right? And you may hear, you probably may have read or heard different things, but I would just say twin flame to me is perhaps about meeting the right partner, but it's also about that we sometimes meet, let's say, soulmates who we probably met in past lives, right? So people who are quite deeply connected with us, but they bring us really big lessons, and they bring us also the transformation, right? So they bring sometimes the toxicity, right, or the issue, but then this brings us transformation so that we can heal ourselves, transform, and move on, obviously, and then move on to seek a better and brighter future as well, I would say. All right. And in the past position, or this would be perhaps also the basis for your situation, is actually you've got the Nine of Earth, which is Nine of Pentacles with the Universe card. But the Universe came in reverse. And what I wanted to say, because this is normally the World card, and it's interesting, it feels to me the way that you felt like you were kind of alone in the world, right? Or you were only by yourself in this world. Like it comes with a bit of sadness, right? So maybe, again, for some of you, maybe you have been single for a while, maybe you struggled to, let's say, attract a partner, maybe you struggled with relationships in general, right? I think it relates a lot to a romantic relationship, may relate to some other relationship as well. But I would say that the being single have taught you, because like something, a lot of self-sufficiency, I would say. So this card to me speaks a lot today with self-sufficiency, and perhaps to value and honor the fact that you are a standalone and self-sufficient person, right? So you don't need to, for example, you don't need to be codependent on others, right? But I'm talking about the healthy one, right? Obviously, but you are also independent. But I think self-sufficient means that you can do a lot of things for yourself and on your own, right? And you don't even have to. And also, this I would say that you don't have to be alone in the world. But if you have felt like this, right? Then, and we've talked about, then hopefully, then there's some transformation, there's some change, there's some transformation happening, so that you can perhaps reperceive it or change something inside of you, right? And then to maybe to say, okay, maybe I don't want to be alone in this world because there's a lot of other beautiful people, right? Maybe I can replace it. Maybe I don't need to find a partner this year. Maybe I can have great friendships, for example, or I can replace the need, for example, to be in love even, right? Or to love a partner. I can replace it with something else. And very often with the healing process and transformation, you need to come back to yourself, and you need to love yourself first, I would say, right? So I would just say that the transformation is helping you with loving yourself first, and with your own self-love, which isn't always easy, especially that we have to heal. So there's a lot of green, right? We have to heal also our heart center and come back to ourselves, right? And be the best partner for ourselves first, I would say. All right. And then in the future card, in the future position, you actually have Two of Earth, which I see it as quite a positive thing for you. It's a lot about balancing, I would say, and you want to kind of like, not even juggling, but maybe you want to juggle different things, but you want to come back to an aspect of balance, right? And perhaps understanding how you can make better decisions to perhaps have a more balanced situations in life, or be more balanced, right, and more grounded in your relationships, I would say. And this comes with two other cards, and one card is actually, okay, this one, sorry guys, this one is called Suffering in Silence, but it comes in reverse, so I feel it's lighter, like it's not, and this one, sorry, this one is not in reverse. Let me just take it to my right hand. This one is called Solitude, and this is the Hermit card in the traditional tarot. With those two, so I think there is an aspect, okay, so, and with the Two of Earth, right, some aspect of balancing and finding, I would say, okay, the main message is finding balance and finding the ways to bring back the balance into your life. And it could be balance in the physical, so finding some solutions so that you can feel better in the world, but also perhaps balance within yourself, right? And maybe balance between yourself and, let's say, your emotions, but also between you and the physical aspect of life, I would say, or just being a little bit more grounded. And I think the solitude I feel here with the Suffering in Silence, sorry guys, card, I think it's just coming to also show you that there is more. So the solitude is very often, it's like that you may, Hermit card does say that you may feel alone, or you may be perhaps very alone. So perhaps I would say that some of you are also dealing with, let's say, like self-isolation issues, perhaps, right? Or being isolated from other people. I don't know. I wanted to say actually that with this is just a reminder that you can, just to make sure that you are perhaps maybe real with yourself, that you can manifest a better balance, so that you don't need to feel so lonely, right? Loneliness and very often isolation is just part of the process, is part of the lessons that we have to go through. I have to say that I had this lesson myself. But on the other hand, if you can, usually you are always, like, I know that even if you are self-isolated for some period of time, you are always being given, let's say, all the tools from the divine, right? So usually you know how to heal yourself, or you know how to meditate, or you perhaps know how to even go to work and kind of provide for yourself. So all of these tools you are being given, and then the transformation happens through perhaps you being alone, right, or even lonely. But it is what it is sometimes. This is also when you connect with the heart, with the divine as well, on the deepest levels, with God, right, and spirit, universe, and with all that there is. And I would say that this card is just suggesting that you need to continue to try to find some more balance with yourself, but also with the grounded life, I would say, right? So perhaps do some, and in a simple way, perhaps do some cooking for yourself if you feel really unstable or unsteady, or even if someone had irritated you, right, and you got thrown out and you are not feeling the best, but you want to have a good meal. This is just an example. Then cook for yourself. Just take a moment, take a few deep breaths to come to the center. Positive, maybe you can, I don't know, if you chant, or you can sing something positive as well for yourself, and go and cook, right? So this is just, and cook, and then so that you can bring also a bit of the happiness, right? And I would say, but also this card is saying that perhaps you will continue. The solitude is also serving you, right? I would say it's the Hermit card, so the Hermit kind of does represent the divine aspect of us. I see she has a book in her hand, so through the solitude you also gain a lot of wisdom, I would say, right? You gain, again, if you listen to perhaps tarot readers, or if you read some things, you also can gain a lot of knowledge, and this will then be very useful later in life, and it will help you manifest, or it will manifest as a wisdom, and as something that you perhaps can then perhaps convey to others, if that makes sense, right? You can then help people perhaps with that knowledge, right? But I would say that actually here the solitude card, it also has a kind of quite a lot of pink around it, so it's a lot about self-love. And I would say it's serving you. Also connect with the divine, for those who have been connecting, meditate, maybe listen to some uplifting music. As I said, if you chant, do your chanting. Chanting is very good. And I think the suffering, and again, that's what I was saying, the suffering is silence, I feel it's a kind of over for you, right? Yeah, it's just reversed, right? So I feel like it's much lighter at the moment, and you can find ways to ground yourself and to come back to balance with, let's say, with the physicality of love, and perhaps even other people. You perhaps have other people also. Yeah, so you may be still longing a little bit for the romantic partner, but you can find a balance, and you can connect with other people who also exist in your life. All right. Okay, so I'll leave it at that, and I will just take one more card for you guys from the Monology deck, as, let's say, as an advice card for the week. And you've got, okay, so that's a very nice, it says leave the past behind. Again, I'm attracted to this, a lot of green. I think I would say actually with this Two of Earth, it kind of also suggests that connect with nature. I feel like maybe you should walk a little bit more, right? Just do something that is kind of like outdoors perhaps. Maybe keep walking in the park, connect with nature, maybe connect with animals, do something that yeah, like nature I feel like is going to help you heal as well. Or maybe relax a little bit, right? And just to kind of let go of, of perhaps anything that isn't, let's say, serving you or that isn't so good. Yeah, and this does say, I think it's a simple message: leave the past behind, right? So we've been talking, and I would say that that's very often a process, right? You are going through a transformation, and a healing process is it takes time, right? Or takes time. Um, yeah, so take it as it is, but perhaps maybe for you it's just time to also remember that you are on the path and you are in the process of leaving the past behind. Maybe you will need to sometimes make some decisions and look at yourself differently and say, even like with the manifestation with the physical life, maybe I don't need to have it anymore. Maybe even like with the food, you can, rather than longing for something that isn't there, you can just say, well, I can replace it, right? Or I can just release that. This was the past that I didn't have, I don't know, even anyone to go to a restaurant with. And you can either go on your own, right? Or you can just say, okay, I'm going to cook a beautiful meal for myself at home, and then I'm going just to enjoy my evening, right? Or something like this. But it's a lot about self-love, and I would say self-care. It's always self-care as well, right? Yeah, so just put yourself first and love yourself first, I would say. All right. Okay, I think so. That's all I have for you for this week. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you find it useful and helpful. Please do share, like, or subscribe to my channel. I'll be very grateful. It will also help kind of show other people that there's something valuable in here. Yeah, and I'm wishing you all the best and a beautiful week. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Hello and welcome. If you've chosen pile number 3 or beautiful malachite crystal, then this reading is for you. And I will start with just a small message from malachite. So malachite is a beautiful stone which helps a lot with the healing of the heart. So healing of your heart chakra, and healing of your, let's say, heart issues. Sorry, apologies, guys. I just heard a really strange noise at my door. Yeah, or healing anything, like healing perhaps relationship issues as well. So perhaps what this tells me that yeah, you perhaps may have been by looking at your cards, perhaps you may have been going through a healing process, some aspect of therapy process as well, and healing perhaps from some I would say even past wounding. So this could also be healing perhaps emotions, right? Emotional healing some darker emotions, healing trauma as well, or traumatic, let's say, or healing, let's say, your childhood, right? So healing even various traumas from childhood, for example. So going a bit deeper as well, right? So anything to do with healing, I would say, and healing your heart center as well. All right. Also, the other message is that I already have Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron with us. I always work with the angels when I do the readings, and they are already with us, and they are here to send us blessings and protection so that we have so that we can have as best experience as possible with the reading. All right, I will start with the first card, which is a theme for you guys for the week, and this one says you deserve love. You are lovable. So yeah, I would just suggest, and I think just starting with Malachite, I feel like Malachite had a really strong message about healing right here in this pile for you guys. In this respect, I think just remember really that you deserve love, right? Like you fully and truly deserve love, and you are lovable. So wherever you are, I would say in the process of healing, whatever had happened, I don't know, let's say a few days, few months ago, or even in your childhood, right? I would say, yeah, so it might have been heavy. I would just say, I'm sorry that it happened. I know how it feels myself, but I would say that remember that the healing process and going through even all the emotions will be worth it, right? It's worth it, and it will help you with bringing yourself back up and bringing also your, perhaps the aspect of your self-love as well, right? So I would just say, I think it's a very simple message. You deserve love, and you truly do, right? And even if it's, and you deserve love in any, let's say, in any form, right? So I would say it's also, you deserve love, so you deserve to love yourself first as well. You deserve to simply to be loved as well by others, and you deserve to be loved by a romantic partner, right? But also all your friendships and other people, let's say, in your life or in the world. All right. And let's start. So we will start with your center. So I've got actually three angel tarot cards for you, all with three positions: past, present, and future. And I've got also three clarifier cards from a psychic tarot deck as well. So we'll start. Sorry, we'll start with the present moment position. Also, it's a bit like a center of an issue, perhaps, right? Just to tell you what just to show me, sorry, what guys you are going through. You've got the Two of Fire card with the High Priestess here, and also with the Wisdom card, but in reverse, right? This is like the Hierophant in the traditional tarot deck, but it came in reverse. The first thing that I am feeling for you with this, that you are actually already on a new path. So perhaps by various choices that you have made already in the past, right? You are already walking on the new path. But I feel like it's also like this week, it's perhaps important for you to kind of make sure that you continue to make the right choices for yourself, and you continue to walk on that path, right? It is perhaps to do with love in general. So it can be, again, romantic relationships and also your healing aspect. But with the High Priestess, I feel like that there's a spiritual component that is being highlighted here. And I feel like it's very important for you, and I feel like it's even very important for me to mention this to you, that the spirituality and spiritual aspect of life and spiritual practice will be and is very important for you in this moment, and it will continue to be, right? So I would say it's very important that you continue, if you've been meditating, to continue to meditate, continue to, I don't know, listen to uplifting music, continue to do perhaps your healing work, your affirmation. Actually, affirmation comes in quite strongly, and it actually came to me with that you deserve love. So for example, your affirmation of the week can be, I deserve love, and you can say fully and completely. So this is how it comes. So you can use this affirmation through the week and then going forward to just reassure yourself that you deserve love. What I was just saying about the High Priestess. So she always, for me, she always brings about the spiritual component, and I feel like the message for you is, yeah, you need to, like, the spiritual aspect is very important. So please don't, I would say, don't neglect it, I would say, right? Don't just don't just follow, don't just keep doing, like, keep meditating. Even if you feel like you don't have time or you're too tired, then maybe listen. There are other ways to meditate. Listen to guided meditations. There are loads of really beautiful guided meditations, for example, on YouTube, right? That's an easy way of also being in a meditative state, but then allowing perhaps the meditation to heal you, right? And you can even perhaps lie down and even almost go to bed with that, right? So there are different ways, right? And at the moment we have a variety of even like a modern spiritual methods available, and they're really important for you, right? The High Priestess also is encouraging you to continue to look inwards and to go inwards. Yes, and kind of do the practice so that you can perhaps get to know yourself better, right? While you are healing. So while you're healing, perhaps from something. And and it's the same like with the Wisdom card. I feel like that's a Hierophant card, but because it came reversed, I feel like the wisdom is within you, but you do need to apply some practice, and perhaps you need to also look for the right teachers, I would say, out there, right? Yeah, so this wisdom is not, I feel like maybe because the High Priestess is a lot about, like, perhaps something is hidden or is not yet on the surface. And I do feel like that the wisdom is inside of you, and you can perhaps connect with it, or you can kind of dig into it, right? But perhaps you do need to do a spiritual practice, and you need to also connect with the right teachers. And it's a process, right? So as you go along, as you continue to heal yourself, perhaps, right, use various healing methods, you may also want to, again, listen to various, let's say, maybe spiritual teachers, maybe even listen to the chosen, perhaps, YouTubers, right? YouTube people who perhaps talk about spirituality, or maybe do highly spiritual, let's say, like angel readings and tarot readings, right? But I'm really, like, I'm sure that spirituality is very important, right? So not only just about talking because someone did something, right? It's just like the perspective, and spiritual is the highest perspective, all right? And that's why the wisdom, I will just confirm or say again that the wisdom is inside of you. And the High Priestess, so by doing the practice, right, the spiritual practices, you are going to dig into, let's say, or connect deeper with your wisdom, which then will be able to come out on the surface. And also connecting with the right teachers will help you. All right, so let's just leave, this, and then move on. So this is And this will be your past position, so it's a past and it's also perhaps a basis for the current situation. And here you've got Seven of Water, and you've got also two cards which are actually in reverse, but we will talk. So the first one is, okay, let me show these two cards. It's firm foundation, and I think that because it came in reverse, but I feel like it's important also, and this is partnerships and alliances, but they both came in reverse. And what I'm feeling is that this is a lot about foundational issues, I would say, in relationships, right? That's why we've talked about that. You guys, probably many of you, or most of you, have been going through a healing process and even know how to apply, let's say, your own healing methods, or you have been seeing perhaps a therapist as well, right? And I would just say the Seven of Water as your past. So this is the card of confusion. Also, this is a card of confused emotions, maybe feeling very confused about even yourself and your path, right? Forward. And I just said, I'm just checking, sorry, because I've also said that you are actually on the new path, and I think you know it, right? That by your choices you've stepped forward to something new. And even though this path may let's say pertain to or may connect with a lot of healing as well, but it's a new path, right, in a certain way. So I would just suggest to dispel. So this is a confusion, but this also may mean that your energy, for example, is very confused, that you have a lot of, let's say, so when we are clearing the patterns, right, in the healing process, we need to keep clearing our energy so that we can keep basically getting the clarity. And I would say also it's a day-by-day process, right? So, and I think the confusion also exists because obviously the foundation, sorry, I don't want to talk like this, but I think, why don't I get it? Okay, there's something wrong because I can't even get there's something about the foundation. Sorry guys, because I can't even get my hands with the with the card. Let me just take it. I feel like the foundation here is important. It came as reverse, so I would say that the foundation perhaps that perhaps your parents have built, like that had built, sorry, when you were a child, right? And or the foundations that were perhaps in your home, in your like parental home and things like that, or even they weren't perhaps right. We all go through that, right? They weren't right, and they're just as simple as that. There's no one to blame here, I would say, all right? And they weren't right, and because of that, nowadays you are going through this confusion, right? So it seems like you are also clearing a lot of stuff. So if you are the one who are doing, and I feel like many of you are doing some healing work, some therapy work, and then if you can then also apply the meditative work, right, the spiritual work, this is all helping you to clear, to let's say keep clearing the foundation, right? That keep clearing, let's say, the toxicity in your foundations, especially from the past, because they are causing the confusion, right? It's like the confused emotion, confused, like even confusion in the mind, fogginess, like not knowing what to do sometimes, right? So I would say, and this issue just is, and this does relate also to partnership and alliances. I would say partnerships and relationships, the way it feels to me. So I would just say, so just continue. So this is just perhaps, maybe that's why the advice, so this is the past position, right? Or the basis. So that's why the current position is telling you. And I feel the advice is just that you are on a new path, right? To continue to step forward. And then, but part of this new path is also the spirituality, right? So this is very important for you. And this is going to help you with the foundations, right? So perhaps for those of you who are still a little bit confused about it, you need to, and you will continue to clear stuff from the foundations in order to, in order, let's say, to come out of these issues, right? To come out of that, to release the toxicity and various aspects that perhaps are manifesting in your life right now. All right. And in the future position, you have the Two of Air card with the patience, with something with the card number 7, actually patience and planning. So what I wanted to say, and I think it just confirms what I just said also with the High Priestess, and also with the healing process, right? And digging deeper inside of, I think it's also about digging deeper inside of yourself, going deeper, going inwards and remembering that the answers and the wisdom is inside of you, definitely, right? But you just need to use the right practice, I would say. I think practice is coming 3 times already, so that's important as a message for at least some of you. And the Two of Air with the patience and planning, I would just say, so this is a future card. So it's something that perhaps will be very obvious by the end of this week, but also perhaps I feel like a little bit towards the future, maybe the next couple of weeks or something like that, right? Maybe a little bit longer, but that I feel like not that nothing is supposed to happen, but I feel like the Two of Air is very often like a stalemate position, right? That either we are being blocked over from something or from doing something, or yeah, so we're being blocked over by something or someone, or sometimes in like inside of us there is a block, but there is a purpose to it, I would say, and there's a reason and there's a purpose to it. And this is only also signifying that if you feel stuck, right, confirming also your confusion, right, and confused emotions, that you need to do your healing work, I would say, right? Just do your and do your spiritual practice, do your meditation, please. And I would just, and again, what comes to me, that's why I'm passing it on. There's loads of beautiful guided meditations, and they really help, right? So definitely find them. Go ahead, search something on YouTube, and they will be able to help you. And the patience and planning, I would say, this card, the patience and planning card, is just confirming that perhaps try not to, like, there is some aspect of stagnation, or something isn't going the right way in your life, like you may feel again blocked, something isn't happening, but this card is telling you that this is the time also for patience and planning, right? So use this time. Don't, like, this is not the time to, let's say, push anything forward or force an outcome, let's say, right? But it's just about being patient. Be patient with yourself, be patient with your process, right? And maybe you can also use the time for planning something for the future, right? Like in a certain way, or maybe you can just do some visualizations, right, or things like that. But these two cards are saying that, I would say, don't feel, I don't know why it's coming, don't complain about it, but don't feel like, you may feel like, oh gosh, it's again, for example, or you may feel like nothing is happening, but I would say that this is just what it is, right? It is just, especially when you have been healing, or you need to heal some blockages, or maybe release some fears from you, then you may feel very blocked, or you may be blocked in some other situations as well, right? In general, or maybe in partnerships and relationships, so issues with relationships in your life, right? Because this is what the theme is anyway for all of these readings. Yeah, so don't worry. I would say don't worry. I don't know why it comes again. Don't complain about it. Maybe it's better, rather than complaining, it's better just to again turn a little bit inwards and do some spiritual work, right? And some healing work, and this is going to help you, right? Just to get to, it's temporary, it's going to pass, but I feel like you also can contribute to release, for example, to release of some emotions, and then you will be able to move forward, right, from this stalemate position, or from this kind of blockage in a certain way. All right, I have one more card for you for today. It will be from the Moonology deck. So let me just, okay, there's just one more card. And this will be an advice card for you guys. It says push through any insecurity. So this is, yeah, that's from the, I can see Cancer here as well. So I don't know if Cancer means anything for you guys. Maybe you want to watch Cancer readings. Yeah, I'm just trying to feel. I don't think that there's a big message, even though, okay, it does say first quarter moon in Cancer. Either, so first quarter moon in Cancer, it would be probably in what would be the no, I don't remember, Aries. So the new moon will be in Aries probably when the first quarter moon is in Cancer. So perhaps either something, so timing wise, either something will come to fruition or to a pass in when the new moon is in Aries. So the new moon cycle will be in Aries, right? The new moon will start in Aries, but then you will have the first quarter moon in Cancer, right? So for those also who know astrology, you know what I mean by this. So it feels like either the timing wise, something will come to fruition perhaps, or to a pass by that time, or in the new moon cycle, which starts with Aries. But I feel the message here also, the push through any insecurity. So the angels are just telling me that maybe this is not like, because I don't like the word push, right? Because I don't think that we should, I mean, sometimes we have to actually push, but they're just telling me that to be gentle with yourself, but you may need to kind of, you may need to use your power to perhaps move through some aspects of some, yeah, or some kind of insecurities inside of you, right? So you may have even some fears. And they're telling me, so obviously you may feel stuck in certain positions. And I suggested already the healing, and the angels are saying that, yeah, continue to heal yourself, to continue to release some emotions, right? Or perhaps self-esteem issues as well, right? And then work with yourself, work with I deserve love, right? Fully and completely. They're just saying that you just, the way this works is like that you sometimes may need to simply say, okay, but I am enough, for example, or I deserve this. So it's like the pushing through means that you can affirm yourself. So it's like you may not feel it yet, right? You are, because when you are doing a lot of work, especially healing work, like we may have these confused emotions. If you are highly sensitive, so Cancer people, or you have maybe Cancer in some relevant position in your chart, you may be very sensitive. And I believe that I read actually for people, most of you are empaths or highly sensitive, right? So I know myself, like you sometimes feel like, gosh, like you just can't even, like yeah, the energy is confusing. But sometimes you need to, sometimes you just need to say with yourself, okay, I am enough, or I can do that, right? Or I deserve it, so that I can just at least move forward and do this for myself today. I feel like small decisions, but I think the angels are, yeah, definitely confirming that do this for yourself and affirm it. They say actually that through affirmations that I can do it, or I deserve it. So some gentle affirmations, they say that you can kind of actually, you can push through this. Yeah, so your insecurities may not be fully healed yet, let's say this week or in the next 2 weeks, right? Because they are deeper usually. So that obviously the healing process is longer, but they are suggesting that if you're, very often you may need to do something, even in the physical world, or sometimes you need to do something for yourself. So they are saying that, or maybe if you've had some lethargies coming here as well, right? So even if it feels a little bit difficult, just affirm that I can do it, or I deserve it, or something like that, and the affirmation will help you just move through this, let's say, confused energy and confused emotions inside of you. All right. Okay, I think it's actually quite a beautiful and nice message here. I mean, all messages, I mean, I hope they're helpful, because I always intend, obviously, my intention is to help and to bring to the light whatever you guys need to hear at the right time. So yeah, what I wanted to say, thank you for watching the video. I hope I hope it was helpful and useful for you guys. Please do hit the like button, share, or subscribe to my channel. I'll be grateful, and it will be also very helpful for me, right? So that you also show other people that there's something valuable here. Yeah, and I hope to see you soon on my future videos. Take care of yourselves. Bye.